Heather K. Broadbent here, and in this video we're going to be talking about why slow practice is keeping you stuck and what to do instead. Slow practice is extremely essential. However, if you only practice slow, it's not going to allow you the feeling of what you have to think about in advance when we're playing fast. When we play slow, decisions can be made slower. The right hand can be a little bit slower for the left hand to shift. And then when we play fast, the intonation goes out the window, the shifting goes out the window, the string crossings tend to stumble, and the fingers fumble. So when we practice slow, the important thing is that's just the foundation of studying a piece or an etude, is to practice slow for intonation and the understanding of what you see on the page. However, to increase the speed and to be consistent without making mistakes, slow practice is not going to get you there. It will actually keep you stuck. For example, let's take the opening of Bach minor third movement. Okay, so I'm practicing slow. I'm listening to every pitch. However, you probably noticed I'm using a lot of bow. When violinists practice slow, it is super important to use smaller bows if it is a fast passage or a fast movement. There's no reason to practice with huge bows while we're playing something fast. So in order to get the feeling of comfortability at the faster tempo, we need to be practicing in the part of the bow that we will be practicing and playing when we increase the tempo. It's also very important that we use the same amount of bow. So I'm about here, 2 inches of bow. So when you're practicing slow, stay in that same place. This also affects tone. So when we're playing fast and we're using less bow because we have to play fast, it does need to have still a concentrated feeling, a concentrated weighty feeling. Otherwise, if it's surfacey, it could be kind of skatey, and we don't want that. So we still want to feel focused and concentrated in sound. So you could even practice open strings at the tempo that you need to be playing the piece in order to create the tone that you would like to have when you are playing it at the faster tempo. So that's number one. Keeping the bow length and the bow placement the same when you're practicing slow as when you are going to be playing it at a faster tempo. The second thing that's holding you back as you're wanting to increase from a slower tempo to a faster tempo is this idea of working with a metronome and increasing the speed. That's great. Honestly, that is a really good starting point on how to play something at a faster tempo. So for example, taking this allegro assai and playing it, knowing what tempo you feel comfortable playing it at, grabbing your trusty metronome and then playing it at one tempo, and then increasing the tempo little by little by little by little until you get to where you feel it should be. Let's say 120, just above 120. So that's the slower way to increase your speed. There's nothing wrong with it, and it's a great way to do it. However, if you're wanting to have a consistency and endurance and speed up your thinking process, it's like jumping in the pool. We're not going to put our toe in the water, we're just jumping in. And that means you want to take 2 or 3 measures and really put yourself into the tempo that you want to play it at. I will use another place as an example so I can show you what I mean. So the beginning of this movement is quite easy and it's a simpler part. So I want to show you something that's a little bit more challenging, and that's on the second page. And this is the tempo that I will be playing this at. Okay, so that's about tempo. It's probably a little bit under tempo. And you may play your 2 or 4 measures, because we're creating a bit here, what I call a bit. You may play that bit at the faster tempo to find out what falls apart. Faster tempos only reveal problems that were already there. It's not that when you play it fast, it's just falling apart for whatever reason. It's because there is instability there that you didn't know was there when you practiced at a slower tempo. When we play faster, we have to anticipate faster. That means you have to know exactly when you're going to a new string for your string crossings. You also have to get that finger down at a faster tempo. So working on intonation at a slow tempo is a luxury. When we increase the tempo, that finger has to be there, or the shift has to occur at a way faster time. That means the anticipation, the thinking ahead, and the actual physical movement has way less time to happen. In a slow tempo, practicing slow, everything can be great. Increase the tempo and it falls apart. But increasing the tempo allows you to know, okay, this fell apart. Why? What exactly is going on? Is it a shift? Is it a physicality? You getting there in time? Is it not understanding their string crossings and where you need to be? Increasing the speed reveals the insecurities. This is why we practice bits at tempo or slightly under tempo to understand what exactly is the issue. This is what I call kind of like the fast track to playing fast. Instead of taking 3 months of increasing a tempo, you may find just practicing a bit, hey, it's not that bad, I can actually do it, only this is an issue, or this isn't speaking cleanly, and then investigate why. That way you're going to be able to play faster sooner. A great way to help you play those faster tempos is just understanding the architecture or the structure of the music itself. For example, second page of the Bach Concerto in A minor. This is about 120, just above 120 here, maybe 130. And just take the first note of every beat. I'll show you measure 67. This is slightly before S in Bach Concerto in A minor. I'll demonstrate what I'm talking about here. So we're just going to play the first note of every beat. So that gives you the idea, okay, that's the first note of every beat. Now, every beat has 3 notes to it in this movement. So I'm going to do the exact same thing now and play all the other notes so you can hear what it sounds like. So the first recording that I played of this was just the first note of every beat. This is an example of all the notes. So why is this beneficial to understand the first note of each beat and where you're at? And that's because you have to know what position you're in and the shift and how you're getting there and if you're in tune. And that's all at that tempo. So you can take those 2 measures or a 4 measure bit. You can make sure that this part of the left side of the body is working. Your stand is getting you where you need to be. By stand, I mean basically your left arm. And that is eliminating a lot of things that you have to think about. Bow, speed, fingers, everything. And just think about the columns, the structures, the architecture of the music, and practice that. Then you can fill in the notes in between. Still within like a 2-measure phrase. You can just do that much. So your first notes, and then fill it in. And you're gonna hear, okay, what exactly is unstable at that faster tempo? What exactly is the challenge? And then you can isolate it better when you are practicing slower. Okay, I know this is falling apart. I know the reason why. Maybe because my 4th finger is not hovering above its spot and it's taking too much time to land. And when I speed it up, there's not that time to get that 4th finger down from a further distance. So then you know, okay, yes, I need to work on the posture of my left hand, because that posture is going to cause that to happen for your 4th finger to be late as you're increasing the tempo, which is something that at a slower tempo you will never know. But when you increase the tempo, you'll find that out. Finally, slow practice is keeping you stuck if you never throw yourself in the fire of experiencing the faster tempo to know maybe something that works at a slower tempo really just doesn't work at a faster tempo, or there's a better alternative. And if you stay at that slower tempo, you're just staying stuck and slow at the slow tempo without making progress because you haven't discover the uncomfortability of a faster tempo and seeing what happens. Or maybe something is actually going to feel better at a faster tempo. So taking the Bach Concerto A minor as an example again here in the 3rd movement, we have a pretty tricky section here right at T. And the bowing, that part is easy, okay? But then the measure after it, it is suggested to do this with a separate bow, down, up, down. And I've done that bowing all the way, well, up until these wonderful years of my violin playing. But now I've decided, you know what? Actually, there's a better alternative. And it's so much easier. It is a more advanced bowing technique to be able to do that, but why struggle when there's an easier option? This is the example. Why struggle playing something when there's an easier option? So this is the idea. If you don't throw yourself in the fire, if you don't throw yourself in the fast tempo, you're not going to know, oh yeah, what works at a slower tempo is really not going to work at the faster tempo. So especially if you're playing this allegro side of the 3rd movement, Bach Concerto in A minor, at a fast tempo, this bowing actually works better. So that way you feel down, up, down, up, down, up. It's just the way that the bow is coming to the string. It has changed, but the actual flow and timing and the right side, the bow arm, doesn't change, right? So we have down, up, down, up, down, up, down. As you can see, it's just the same thing, but I'm just grabbing the strings differently. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Definitely give it a like. And if you are working on the Bach Concerto in A minor and would really like to have some insight in helping you progress with it, check out my course, Bach Concerto in A minor, Guided Repertoire Study in the Broadbent School of Violin Artistry. And we can continue the Bach Concerto in A minor discussion there. For everyone else, if you liked the video, definitely give it a thumbs up. If you really truly enjoyed it, write a comment, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.